a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host for the day, Alex Lima, with BlackBelt Fitness and Martial Arts, filling in for your consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You know what we do here on the show. We put you in touch with consumer experts from all different areas. We have real estate experts, finance experts, Second Amendment, self-defense. It goes on and on and on and on. If you'd like to see the complete list of our current all-star lineup and roster, go to consumerqb.com. In-house today, we have an awesome lineup per the usual. We have Michelle Geskey. She's been on the show before, but those that don't know, she is an all-star on the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. She's a lead with Brandon and Lindsay's all-star team. We also have, I'm very excited for this one as well, Tom T-Bone Hamilton. He's a local musician. I'm a blues guy myself, for those of you that don't know. So I'm really excited to sit down and talk a little music with this guy here. And then we also have Patrick Hyland from the Sports Zone radio show. All right, so we got an all-star lineup today. But before we get to our lineup here in-house, I would like to highlight some of the properties available to you from the Platinum MVP team and the Livian Coastal Elite. First property we have is 10415 Main Street in Thenodisassa, Florida. They were betting I wouldn't say Thenodisassa properly, but I did. 10415 Main Street, Thenodisassa, Florida, here in Hillsborough County. It's 5 acres. It's a commercial zone property. There's a great return of investment opportunity here. It's an incredible development potential, lots of great land, and it's minutes from the Tampa Bay area. I believe there was a call not too long ago about trying to set up like a filming studio here. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential for this area. You just have to have your imagination and, let it go. All right, so 10415 Main Street, Thenodisassa, Florida, Hillsborough County. You can check that one out at platinumcoastalelite.com. We also have 9647 West Fern Creek Terrace in Homosassa, Florida. It's just under an acre. It's situated in the prestigious Blue River Cove. Beautiful area. This expansive vacant lot spans over 3/4 of an acre. It's an opportunity for you to construct your dream home or serene winter retreat. I love that word, serene. Located just minutes away from the renowned Homosassa Springs Wildlife Park. For those of you that are into wildlife, this is the place to be. Homosassa Springs Wildlife Park and the picturesque Homosassa River. You can see all the properties available from the Platinum MVP team at platinumcoastalelite.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here in studio, Michelle Geskey. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I know this is the first time I get to talk to you in studio. I see you at all the events and everything we do and hanging out. We just had that really nice gratitude party get together over at what was it? Was it LBC?
Yes,
yeah, LBC.
In Palm Harbor. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. That was cool to have everybody there. It's not often that we all get together. A lot of times, like the real estate side is you guys have like your things going on. We have the show stuff going on, but it's cool when we can all come together because it's all family. We all have to work together.
It's all a well-oiled machine.
I don't know about well-oiled. We got a couple loose screws, but what can you do? I guess that's with everything. So real quick, I'd like to highlight some topics. So you are a veteran.
I am a combat veteran.
Veteran. You're a real estate all-star, in my opinion.
Okay, well, great.
And
yes.
I didn't know this, and I'm super excited now. A combat black belt in Aikido Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about all this stuff.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, tell a little bit about your background from being a veteran, and also how you transitioned finally to in civilian life, then being into real estate, and then joining Brandon and Lindsay's team.
Okay. Well, a long story short, I didn't grow up having aspirations to join the military. I'm from New England. I've always had a dream of traveling the world.
Wait. So are you a Pats fan? This interview's over. Are you a Pats fan?
I always have been.
No, that's
I am
right.
a Bucks fan.
Okay.
Okay. So after college, when I was in my young 20s, I joined the military on a whim, and I ended up at Fort Drum, New York after all of that. So that was it.
What branch specifically?
I joined
did you
the
serve?
Army. I was a Czech linguist in military intelligence.
Oh, wow.
So that was all very exciting. But my first duty station was 6 hours from my hometown. So that wasn't my idea.
So you joined to get away, and then, all right, I'm 6 hours away. Oh, no.
Near the Canada border, freezing. So that wasn't my idea of traveling the world. However, I absolutely loved the military. So after 5 years, I did a program called Green to Gold, where I left the military and came right back here to Tampa to the University of South Florida, where my father and my grandparents are from Tampa. So my family's been here since the 70s. So after leaving USF and the ROTC program, I went back into the military on active duty as an officer.
Oh, wow.
Where I spent the rest of my time. So I was a company commander for a truck company where I led 175 soldiers in Iraq during the most dangerous times in Iraq between 2004 and 2005.
Those are real rough times. That's when it was really
Yes.
ugly. Yeah.
After I left the military, I've been in Florida and self-employed for the past 18 years. And about 4 or 5 years ago in 2019, my father passed suddenly, and I was the only one of my siblings close enough to come and take care of everything in Tampa. And I ended up just moving back to Tampa and staying here. And I went through a lot of transition in my life at that time. And I got my real estate license because I had a lot of experience buying properties for my own business use and transforming them. And that's why I got my license, to work with my friend that was in construction to fix up properties.
Oh, wow.
However, I met the person who brought me into Keller Williams at a Tony Robbins event, and I came into Keller Williams, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And I was a single agent for 4.5 years. I was successful capper. However, I had met Lindsay and Brandon through our Keller Williams events, and, we hit it off. And for a few years, I was asked to come on the team. And
So this was years in the making. I didn't know. I didn't know that.
I think I met them at a Christmas party, maybe in 2019 or 2020, and I had attended Brandon's classes,
Like
Win
the
with
Win with
Sellers,
yeah.
And he was trying to recruit me since that day.
Yeah.
And I recently joined the team last August.
That's super cool. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So when you got your license, did you get licensed here in Florida, or you were licensed and got reciprocity here?
I got licensed in Florida.
Okay, so you did the whole thing through Florida and all that stuff. Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, Brandon and Lindsay, great people. Obviously, like legitimately, really, really good people, and a blessing to many of our lives. But when also, Brandon is also relentless in his pursuits. So he had been hunting you since 2019 to get you to join the team, and he finally made it happen.
Well, honestly, I was attempting to do him a favor. You don't want me on your team. I am a team builder, team of business owner.
You cannot.
I will quit.
You don't want another alpha presence here. Yeah.
Well, the reason it works out so well is because we have the ability, I'm the director of sales for the Livian team, and I am building my own team within the team. So it's a win-win for all of us. Yeah. And that's why it works. And they're very open-minded about everybody being successful and meeting their own goals. So it's a great real estate model that I don't think a lot of teams replicate.
Yeah. Well, first off, before we go any further, I want to say, thank you for your service, especially with 9/11 just passing. 9/11 played a critical role during the time where you were serving and leading troops out there. So, thank you for your service and what you do. I love all of our veterans. I was going to join the military. I had some things happen in my life. I don't want to get, not get on that soapbox or that story about it. So that's why I joined like the paramilitary and fought here at home by being a firefighter and paramedic.
Right.
But I love all of our first responders in our military that none of which get as much credit as they deserve, especially times. I was thinking the other day, especially with 9/11, I was at Florida Firearms Academy and I was doing a thing over there, and we actually stopped. We shut down the range. We went cold range on 9/11, and we stopped, and everybody in the building stopped, and there's a giant flag there. You've been there. We said the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we did a prayer talking about 9/11 and stuff. And then I was just thinking I remember that time so vividly. I remember being in school when it happened and watching the videos and thinking about just how devastating this was, and but not understanding the full gravity of what was going on. But the one thing that I specifically remember is how, as tragic as that was, for a short time, how beautiful our country was. Right. You could not drive down the street without seeing an American flag. You remember that? Like everywhere there was an American flag door to door. People were more American than they had ever been. And I wish we would have held on to that. And I know there's still our patriots and our people that love our country and love God and everything still. But we've gotten away from a lot of those values that we had at that time. People too often forget. And 9/11 specifically, we say, never forget, never forget.
Absolutely. So may I ask, what school you were in?
Ooh,
What
well,
level of
I was
school?
obviously in kindergarten. No, no. I was in high school. It was actually my
Okay.
it was my senior year of high school. It was senior year of high school.
Okay. Well, I remember exactly where I was on that day, and actually, I find it interesting because one of the biggest things that I think is interesting with what happens in our current events are the perspectives of the different people depending on where they were.
Sure.
On 9/11, I was a first lieutenant in Germany, stationed in Germany, and we were literally 1 to 2 hours from deploying to an exercise in Poland that we did annually.
This was
And
completely unrelated. You were getting ready to go on a just a
completely
training exercise.
unrelated. And I was at home. They gave us lunch break off. I was in my apartment and had the news on and saw the plane go into the tower. And, the perspective at the time was that it was an accident.
Right.
My ex at the time, he was special operations, and when the second plane hit, he said, "Michelle, that's no accident.
This is no accident.
This is terrorism." And it was incredible to watch how the military base just went into action immediately. We were immediately called back. We were locked down. We were officers, so we were in back-to-back meetings,
Yeah.
and we weren't allowed to go home. It was 24-hour operations, and we were in Germany, and it was discovered that there were foreign operatives on the base that were not acting in our best interest. People were being arrested. They were checking apartments around the perimeter. They had cells set up all over the place, and a lot of terrorists were arrested at that time. And people that were operating on the base, selling food, having stores, it was crazy. But it was interesting to see. And you said all of the American flags, how the people came together. We didn't have the internet and cell phones and everything that
For
we
sure.
have now.
Definitely.
So that was one of the most difficult things for my soldiers and people because we were deployed and we didn't know what was going on back home.
Yeah.
We couldn't talk to our families and we couldn't participate on anything that was going on outside of the mission that we were doing in our zone,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's incredible. That's something that's not often talked about. That's a side of the story I've never thought about. But the sleeper cells. I mean, that's happened throughout history, throughout government agencies and things. But yeah, it's just so crazy how intricate that was in order to make that happen. And but again, not to turn this into a sad story, but it's a story that needs to be told. We need to not forget about these things, and
Right.
everybody played a role and did something with it. But again, it hurts. I'm even getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it. How I just remember how the country was then. How I just remember I had friends that I remember this girl, very pretty, very nice, sweet girl. There was flip sides to that too because her family was Indian and was Muslim, so
Right.
there was a little bit of unnecessary hate thrown around too.
Absolutely.
Just like when COVID happened not too long ago, we had people that were just because you were Asian, they were blaming,
Absolutely.
And listen, an American's an American. My bloodline is Cuban. Okay,
Right.
so now all of a sudden, if Cuba, you're gonna hate all the Cubans. Listen, if American soil, you're born on American soil, you come here and become a citizen the right way. You are an American. And we all need to be good to each other. We need to be better to each other.
And I would like to say I've traveled to over 20 different countries, and everybody knows that America is, the greatest nation on earth, regardless of what people say.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is. And if you have a lot of traveling experience and a deep understanding of what this country was founded on and what we stand for and our original values, it truly is the greatest nation on earth.
Amen to that. I'm with you on that. So now before we all start crying on the air, let's go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break. We're going to get back here to Michelle Geskey, all-star member of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Don't touch that dial. ConsumerQB.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host for the day, Alex Lima with BlackBelt Fitness and Martial Arts. Sitting here talking to the wonderful, beautiful Michelle Geskey, all-star member of the Platinum MVP team. Great story. You know, we're going to get back to it in just a second. I would like to highlight just one property from the Platinum Coastal Elite Platinum MVP team. We got 605 Monterey. 605 Monterey Avenue in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,163 square feet. It's in a non-evacuation and non-flood zone, which is awesome considering all the trouble we just went through with some storms. It's great to know that this home is in a good area. Centralized Clearwater location, which is awesome. A lot to do in Clearwater. Let's see, newer hot water heaters, roof and AC units, all that's brand new. You got a circular driveway with a large courtyard, so when you throw little house parties and get-togethers, there's plenty of parking, ample parking. And there's a new pool pump, so you can get right into that pool and not have to worry about it. Check out 605 Monterey Avenue in Clearwater, Florida at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. So back in the house here with Michelle. Michelle, what a wonderful visit this has turned out to be, having you here in studio.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of fun to see you, too.
Thanks. So, okay, we talked a little bit about your journey to becoming part of the Platinum MVP team. I got to hear about this, the combat black belt. Now, was this the training, like the combatives they do in the military? Or how did you come around to do the training like that?
Let me tell you, it was a lot more intense than what I did in the military for basic soldiers that are not, combat arm. I mean, not special ops.
Right.
We get basic hand-to-hand combat. But
Yeah.
the way that I got into martial arts, I told you when I was in ROTC at USF, my father tried to give me a gun to protect myself when I was, in my mid-20s. And I was like, no, I don't need that. So he gave me a baseball bat to keep in my apartment. And then he enrolled me in his martial arts class.
No way.
So my dad was a martial artist.
No way.
He paid for me to do martial arts all through college. And I was really, really good at it. So my grandmaster, took pride and spent a lot of time with me. And he even ended up coming over to Europe when I was a platoon leader and helping me train my soldiers when I was, in a leadership role. So that's how I became involved with it, and it was brutal, a brutal martial art, a combat aki-jitsu, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And people questioned why I was doing it, but, I can fight. I can defend myself.
Yeah.
I can use knives, guns,
you have
whatever need be.
You have the confidence to not walk around being a victim. You don't have that victim mentality. I'm going to tell you 3 major takeaways that I have from your backstory, and I don't know how often you reflect on this. You are successful today. 1, well, first and foremost, I just got to say it, you had an awesome dad. Okay?
Yes.
A man that cares that much, whether he was hard on you or not, I don't know. I'm sure he probably was, and that kind of pushed you in your path. But a man that cares that much about his little girl's self-defense and well-being is amazing. Okay?
Yes.
Your military background, the discipline and the things you've seen and experienced have done, and then your martial arts. All those things accumulated transfer over into your everyday life and keep you on the pattern of being disciplined and being successful.
Well, absolutely. And thank you. I appreciate that. Before I came today, I'm working on some other projects. And, there's a direct correlation, in my opinion, to why military personnel make really great business people and realtors. Mm-hmm. And the discipline, the time management, the mental toughness, and the fact that we're used to diving into unknown situations and being able to accomplish any mission
Adapt and overcome.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what challenge comes up in my life, especially in real estate. Nobody's dying. It's not that big of an issue.
Yep.
And it's easy to overcome for me personally. I think the biggest challenge for any career military person is just the slow pace compared to the military.
Used to some more action, yeah.
I've learned a lot about how the brain works, and to spend your entire life just very fast paced and, from one mission to the next. And in the military, you have a purpose. My purpose was to keep my soldiers alive every day on very little sleep, and then you get out and it's like, oh, okay.
The transition is difficult because you have to decompress. You want to hold on to your teachings, obviously, and your lessons and your skills. But you come back to civilian world. I feel very similar about when I left the fire department, 24 hours on, running 911 all the time, like literally bringing people back from the dead. So when I see people bugging out about something I'm like, it's not that bad, man. Literally, people aren't dying, dude. Like, it's okay, relax, And it's hard because I don't want to be like callous, but I have to be a little callous. Like, this is a little silly. Yeah, you feel me. You know what I'm talking about.
It's so funny. I'm like, you can't say it out loud, but you're thinking it. The realtor on the other side of the transaction's freaking out because of an inspection. I'm like, really? This is so easy, Oh,
all day in my head, I'll be around people, and I'm like, man, how soft are these people? Like, they have no life experience. This is so crazy.
Right.
So the moral of the story, get out there and go get some life experience so that you can, be able to adapt and overcome. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got about 30 seconds left, and anything else you want to drop, or any social medias or anything you want people to follow, or
certainly I can be reached through the show, but my social media is Michelle Geskey on Instagram and YouTube, Facebook, whatever. But I'd just like to say, if there are any military personnel or anybody who knows any military who wants to get into real estate, I am passionate about helping them with the transition from the military. I have every morning for 30 minutes, I do a conversation practice with an Air Force active duty in his preparation to get out and have a career in military or in real estate.
In real estate, transitioning. That's awesome. Michelle, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Coming up next, we have Patrick Hyland from the Sport Zone and Tom T-Bone Hamilton, local musician. Can't wait to talk to these guys. All right, stay tuned. ConsumerQB.com.
Hey,